Yo, what's up, guys, and welcome back to Marvelous Chats. My name is Finto. Tonight I'm joined by Hofmvn.
Hey, what's going on?
We're going to be talking about this week's episode of Boba Fett, episode 4. Hofmvn, what did you think?
Dude, this episode, where has this episode been the entire series? This is like the Star Wars content I was looking for. Love this episode right off the bat, like just kind of big headline. It's like a 9 out of 10 episode for me. Like I watched this and it's hard for TV to get this much better. This is one of my favorite episodes I've seen out of Star Wars TV, and I'm including that in The Mandalorian. This is like top 4 episodes I've seen from The Mandalorian and Boba Fett, like kind of combined. Just a big fan, big fan of this episode, man. What about you?
I liked the episode. I wasn't a big fan of the start of the episode. So, you know, I thought it was cool when we kicked off the episode and it kind of linked in with episode 5 of Mandalorian where he finds Fennec. I thought that was cool. When we get reintroduced to the cyborgs again, I was kind of a bit skeptical. And the scene where Fennec is being like operated on, and it sounded like there was like spy music from a 90s like kids spy movie, like Spy Kids or something. I actually had to pause the episode and take a deep breath because I was like, are they really doing this to us again? I could not believe it. I paused it. Again. Yeah, I paused it. I took a deep breath and I said, okay, let's go. And I played it again. And to be fair, that was the only gripe I really had with the episode. There wasn't really too much going on. Like bad apart from that. Loved the scene where he went and got Slave 1. That was incredible. I don't know if you noticed, but there was some, you know, the bit where Fennec is cutting through the gates to when they were breaking into the palace. They used like sound effects from episode 3 there, where Anakin takes off Dooku's head, and I was just like, I noticed it straight away. I was like, oh my god, that sounds amazing. I was like, I know that sound. So like stuff like that was great. And then it seems like they were trying to throw a few episode 3 references in here as well, which obviously I love. Episode 3 is probably my favorite film. But they had the Grievous looking chef bot as well. I thought of you when I saw that, because I was like, obviously knowing you used to work in kitchens and stuff, I'm like, he's gonna love this part.
Yeah, it was actually hilarious seeing in the kitchen, because I spent like 10 years working in kitchens, and it's nice to know that even on distant planets like Tatooine, they still have the exact same kitchen tables and insert pans that we use in our restaurants. Like, I guess it's the same everywhere in the universe. But yeah, this episode really felt like Star Wars, man. And it's really weird to talk about the show the way it is, because it feels like the show that when it's in the past, it feels like the flashback scenes and the modern day scenes are just 2 separate shows that we're watching. Yeah. Because they feel different in tone. They feel different in like how good the content is. Every time we get flashbacks, it's so good, right? And then like the modern day stuff just kind of is a little bit of a letdown. It feels kind of off. But in this one, man, the past was amazing. Like you said, getting into Slave 1, or should I say Fire Spray Gunship, that model type. Ouch. I like how they dodged that, by the way. I like how they dodged that controversy with that.
Yeah. I do hope they don't refer to it in canon as that. I kind of hope they just leave the ship unnamed, because like, we don't really, I know everyone is always talking about the Falcon and stuff like that, but like, you can keep the name of that ship out of canon forever, and no one's going to really even notice. Like, they don't need to make a big deal about it. I think if they actively go about changing the name of it, or like, if they have the cheek to actually change the name of it officially on the show, I think you're just going to be riling up and making fans angry for no reason whatsoever. Just don't say the name of the ship. Everyone knows Boba's ship. That's all you got to say. Everyone knows what Boba's ship is. That's it. Like, just leave it at that.
Yeah, because they never even said the name of it in the movies, right? It's only from the screenplay that we know its name is actually Slave 1. In the extended universe, they used it. So I love how they did that, but I gotta say, hearing the blasters from his ship.
Oh yeah.
When that first off, that scene is one of my favorite scenes in all of Star Wars. The angle on where the ship's coming down and he's like, blowing up the Raiders. Yeah. Or the biker gang that took out the Raiders. Like, it was just fucking awesome, man. Like,
and just the look on his face as well. Like, yes. But as he was flying the ship, I actually turned to my lady and I said, "That's Boba Fett right there." Like,
yes. And I really like how they show the scene of him and Fennec sitting out in the desert.
Yeah.
and they're talking about like why he is, doesn't want to just be a bounty hunter anymore. Why he feels like he can do it better. Why he even wants to take over the first, because he still wants to make money, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he knows he can do it better, and it's just
Not lose
this is
people
something
as
I've
well.
been looking for. Yeah, like I've been searching for this entire show. What is the thrust of the show? What is the motive? Why are we here? This should have been episode 2. They should have found a way to rearrange the show to where what they did in the past in episode 4, they should have shown this in episode 2. If not, just rework the whole show to be in chronological order, because there's been no benefit to us jumping forward and backwards, really. There's been no benefit to the story whatsoever. We're not getting reveals. We're not getting insight. Until now, in episode 4, I'm like, oh, this is why we're watching. This is why we're watching the Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah.
He wants to build his house, and this is why he wants to build a house.
Yeah.
Which, honestly, the show should have been called The House of Fett or something. Would have been way cooler.
Yeah, true. I like the way they mentioned in the show as well that, he's fully healed now. So I think that means that the flashbacks are over. And I think we're going to be current time only going forward. And I think that's needed because, as interesting as some of the flashbacks were, I think they were overplayed a little bit. There was it kind of dragged on a little too much. Like, most episodes you're spending 3/4 of the time with him in the tank and he's just dreaming and we're watching his dreams basically. And I just thought, it's not great. It's not great. But, a couple of the things in this episode that I think were really amazing to take note of as well was the BK bar scene was just great. Loved it, and if you don't know much about BK as a character, Black Chrysanthemum, the Black Wookiee, basically his race and the lizard race, which I can't think of the name of them at the moment, I apologize, but the two of those races are very they've got a heated history. The lizard species put the Wookiees into slavery for years and years. So Black Chrysanthemum, anytime he sees one, he wants to kill them. And that was just him just sitting there sculling beers, and you could see his knuckle dusters getting charged up. He was pissed off. I was like, this is cool. This is really cool. It kind of reminded me of the original Star Wars and just how shady the cantinas can be and all that sort of stuff, So loved that scene. And again, you're one who owns the club trying to talk him down, and he rips the arm off, which is the Wookiee sign of, that's what they do. That's their signature. You rip arms off. If you've got an enemy, you rip their arm off and beat them to death with their arm. So I just thought I thought that was great. And as well, I thought there was a bit of dialogue which I thought was quite interesting as well, and it was where Boba speaks about, I think Fennec says something about them flying into Mos Eisley to repair Slave One, and Boba says, "No, I'll do it myself. There's a lot of benefit to people believing that you're dead." So I think a lot of people are saying now that what might happen is he actually might just end up staying on Tatooine for the show because he doesn't want to leave yet, because his ship is so recognizable that the second people see him blasting off from Tatooine, they'll be like, oh my god, Boba Fett's alive. Right. So I think maybe he's going to stay grounded for this season just to basically keep himself, under the radar, which I think is very clever. Especially if he's planning a takeover or whatever. You don't want to be getting off-world gangs and stuff involved. So I'm like, that's a real smart move from him, and I thought that was very interesting. And then as well, to close off the episode as well, we got to hear the Mandalorian theme music coming in at the very end,
the flute,
which I think is a hint that, because in the dialogue in that last conversation, they're speaking about how if you've got the coin, you can buy the right allies and stuff like that. And I think what he's going to do is he's going to recruit Din Djarin, aka Mandalorian, and I think Mandalorian will be in maybe the rest of the season, but definitely 1 going forward, if not 5, maybe 6. But
I'd love to see a cameo from Djarin, man. I can't wait to see him again. The director place the Mandalorian flute at the exact perfect time throughout this entire episode.
Yeah.
And just, I don't know, like you said, him staying on Tatooine for the rest of the season is implying a second season for the show. And do you think we're getting a second season of the show?
I don't think so. I think this is kind of a one shot, but I think Boba will continue. Boba's not going away. Boba's going to go and be in the Mandalorian. I think he'll definitely want to take part in the War of Mandalore, which is going to be like the story that continues in Mandalorian, or the Mandalorian show. So I think that all these characters just continue on in Mando, but I don't think we get a Boba Fett show specifically. So
see, I in a dream world for me, and I know they're trying to get to like the next part of the story they want to tell for the overall Star Wars universe. Like what I really would have wished was that in this they would have done like a 2 seasons for the Book of Boba Fett, where the first part of the season, right, or the first season of Boba Fett is actually them doing everything up until Finnick, where he is with the Tuskens, he gets them killed on accident, and then we see the flare in the air and he gets Finnick. That's season 1, and then season 2 they come back and he's taking over Tatooine. I think if they would have gave the show 2 seasons to do that, so we can kind of bookend where they are in the Mandalorian, it would have been a much better system for them, or a much better show that made more sense. Because the way they're doing this now with like the flashbacks and stuff just made it feel like such a bad show, and it probably could have made the modern parts of Tatooine so much better.
Yeah, I agree, and like I think it's the first 4 episodes of the show have really kind of set a vibe and a pace, and I really think like if what we've heard about what the rest of the season is going to be like, I think the rest of the season is going to be so strong that it could actually just revive the entire show. When you go back and watch the start of it, it will make sense. But I think there's always been a plan for this to be a kind of one and done, and then the characters of Boba and Fennec and whoever else might show up. Black Chrysanthemum, I think, is going to continue on, and Boba's going to have an entire army by the end of this. And I think I would not be surprised if as well we get introduced to maybe Cad Bane in the next episode or 2. Obviously, big enemy of Black Chrysanthemum and big enemy of Boba. He'll be working with the Pikes. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if they brought in. There's a lizard. Oh my god, I can't think of his name. A lizard bounty hunter. I can't think of his name right now. But he's a big enemy of like Black Chrysanthemum, and he's had run-ins with Boba and all as well. So I think that's where it's going. It's going to be like bounty hunter, kind of squaring off like bounty hunter battles. And then I think whichever way it ends, I think the story is going to just perfectly kind of flow into Mandalorian season 3. That I don't think we're going to miss Boba Fett the show, because we're still going to have Boba Fett going forward. I think he's going to be like very close to the Mandalorian, like Mando himself, that like we won't even notice that he's gone. I think it'll be still like kind of critical story.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm excited. Again, this is the episode I wish that we had forever, or like way before. Robert Rodriguez seems like he's been the worst part of the show directing wise. Yeah. This director knocked it out of the park. I wish I had his name on hand. I should have looked it up. But that person did a fantastic job. Like it had the tone of Star Wars. It was amazing. I loved it, man. 9 out of 10 episode. I hope the next week's episode like builds on this and gets to another great episode, because it was so fun to watch.
Yeah, I would probably give this episode about an 8 out of 10 myself. And I think I was pleasantly surprised with how good this episode was, because I wasn't expecting it to be. The kind of vibes that I've been getting from the stuff that Disney Plus has been putting out so far that we've watched, with whether it be Star Wars or Marvel. I think I was expecting this show to be this episode to be like really bad, and then maybe have a very like a little like slight little like rise in hype at the very end of the episode. Maybe like we got to see a cameo of somebody or something. But to be honest, if the only thing I could say negative about it was the music choices at the start of the episode were horrendous. It was like laughable, so bad. But apart from that, the episode was great.
Yeah. And real quick, wasn't Boba Fett's armor? Isn't it Durasteel, not Beskar? Am I crazy?
It is mentioned in the episode that he does have Beskar, because Fennec says that his armor would have melted in the Sarlacc pits, in the Sarlacc's stomach. And he says Beskar doesn't melt, so he definitely does have Beskar. So that's always kind of been something that's been up in the air. People weren't 100% sure that Boba's armor would actually be Beskar. So I'm glad that they've kind of confirmed that.
Well, Beskar armor, it won't melt to acid, but it will dent apparently.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's got a big dent in the top of it. So I don't know. Yeah, look, I'm looking forward to next week's episode. I think we're gonna have a really good episode. Like, we're gonna have a really good review of next one. I think it's gonna be absolute hype stations next week. So really looking forward to
excited.
it. Yeah, 100%. Guys, if you like the content, hit like on the video. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. We do a podcast on Saturdays. We talk all things Marvel, DC, Star Wars, everything. So, yeah, thank you. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Later.